Hello, welcome to another video. Today we are doing a tier list of every danganronpa death from V1, which is Trigger Happy Havoc, all the way to V3, which is Killing Harmony. There are gonna be like some monocub murders here because the fact that this is only up until Ultra Despair Girl, since Ultra Despair Girls didn't really have any murders in it. So we're gonna start off with Trigger Happy Havoc, and we're gonna start off with the Jin execution, the Jin Kirigiri, which was the former headmaster of the original Hope's Peak Academy. So this execution really sets it up because the fact that you don't expect to bring the mercy start with this a contrast for how they would So that is the Jin Kirigiri murder. I'm going to pause it there before it shows the next murder. So where would I put the Jin Kirigiri murder? I keep getting zooming out. I would put the Jin Kirigiri one as a great start to the whole Danganronpa franchise. So I'll just say the way the tier list goes, we start off with only one will fit in the best. Everything, if it's not the best, we're going to great, good, needs improvement, and if they're that bad, we just want them gone from the whole series. As like 2 of them will be there, I will guarantee it. So the next one is gonna be Mukuro Ibisawa. I can never say her name right because we actually don't know it's her until chapter 6. So this is the first Junko Enoshima quote unquote death. Even though Junko Enoshima didn't die until later on. So let's watch and see what happens.
Deadly Spear, gotten here!
But we all didn't expect him to use Gunpowder Spears, we actually expected him to use bombs. Oh, that's about to reveal the next one. That is the shortest one, lasting only, well, like 8 seconds. But it brings on the impact of if you harm Monokuma, you will be instantly execution. So this is a good execution. Needs the improvement of him giving the warning beeps like it happened with Mondo's. But it's not going to be in the needs improvement one because the fact that it doesn't need improvement to it, it just needs a slight tweak to it. So the next one will be our first actual death of the series, which is Sayaka Mizuno, who died to a knife in the stomach and bleeding out. The way this one works is because the fact in the trial it is confirmed that she died to bleeding out from her stomach. As you could see in the picture, it's just a knife in the stomach, and the video will also display it. But what makes it interesting is behind her is the name of the killer. So let's see it. as you can see from each of the points, unless it's an execution, each death will last around about 10 seconds, and an execution can last up to 2 minutes, going off if it's going to be a slow execution, like one in B3 does, or a very quick execution, that like the one in Danganronpa, I believe it is Danganronpa v Trigger Happy Havoc. The quickest execution, going off the tier list, I think the quickest one is the bomb one, which is you'll find out later on. So this one is a great first example for a murder. So that's going to be in the great category, just because the fact it will be fitted to the great category, because the fact it's the first actual death. Next is our first actual student execution, which is Leon Kawada, the ultimate baseball star. His execution is controversial because his execution is called Death by 1,000 Blows. But yet we can actually clearly see it's not an 1,000 blows. It's more like 10,000. But you'll see in the video. Anyway, like I'm saying, like no one expected this to happen. They thought it'll be a slap on the wrist. Blood. You see, that's like more than 1,000 blood. So the body can take more than 10,000 blows before it dies. The way he opens his eyes is death. He put two of the balls in his top. The balls would have crushed his eyes. The baseball's crushed his eyes in. But you don't see the eyes being crushed in. And that's the one from the end, which was dead, which was the fatal blow one, because it went right through his skull and bounced back. So that is the first student execution. Remember, the Jin Kirigiri one wasn't a student, but the headmaster. But later on, we find out that they didn't know the prior headmaster was murdered until chapter 6. So this goes in good over the Murkuro's Ubusat, whatever the Murkuro one was, because the improvement is it needs to not be 1,000, because the body can take more than 1,000. So the next murder, which I'm honestly just gonna put in best because of the character, but I can't do that because I'm gonna judge for the best slot at the very end. So this one is Chihiro Fujisaki, the ultimate programmer, who died to a dumbbell to the head. But what's controversial is that Chihiro is a boy, not a girl. So you'll see in the next video. Like you could tell that this was actually meant to indicate Genocide Show's death. But the fact that Genocide Show wouldn't have left the message so clear to lead to her. And also, the picture in the background gives it away that this is meant to be the boys' bathroom kill. The boys' changing room kill, training room, however you want to see it. So, I'm gonna put this at the very top of great because it belongs at the very top of great. And the next execution for the students here is Mondo Uwada, the ultimate biker gang leader. This one is controversial because of the fact that, um, well, it's controversial because of the fact that he's in a bike, chained to a bike, which he can easily escape of by just standing up. But he accepted his punishment as soon as he made the vital slip up, which was that the killer had to have a matching blue jersey. And at the time of his trial, no one had mentioned the color of the color jersey that Chihiro brought. No one mentioned it, so that's why he got pinned. If he didn't mention about the blue jersey, um, he would have got away with the kill. But you'll see. The cage of death. So Mondo's execution leads to him being nailed to the butter, including his bones as well, which the body can't naturally do without being, as it is, vaporized and condensed instantly. But if you were vaporized in the cage, the gas would leave the cage, but it never did, because the bike absorbed it and then transferred it into the cage. Plus, the eerie music gave him that been changed into Mondo Bar. There are Nares Mondo's remains in Mondo Bar. Which then Monokuma then eats the butter because by technicality Mondo is still alive in the butter form, so Monokuma just finished it off by killing him by eating the butter. That it's controversial for that one, whether it belongs in great or needs or good. So I'm gonna put this one at the top of good, where it would make more sense because it's not good enough to be in the great category, but it's nowhere near the point where it needs the improvement. Now, this one is a controversial death, which I'm just gonna do that, but not yet. Because the fact that Hifumi died twice. But he didn't die the first time. He faked his death in the nurse's office, as we're about to see here. So he faked his death here. Because of the fact that once you see his body later on, you'll see the clear difference between this part of the body and the next part. Honestly, I don't like how this this whole thing was created. It was too complicated of a plan. So um this one will need a gratitude of improvement if you want to make it actually believable. But I don't think it does deserve there. So the next one is which is the true death part, which is Taka. his name is longer than it usually is, but we call him Taka because he was hit by the mallet by Hifumi at 6 a.m. Hifumi died at 1 p.m. Taka died at 6 a.m. But these two bodies were found at the same time, when in reality, it was just Taka's body being found. So let's watch Taka's reaction. So this will be the quickest death scene we have because we have no context on it, other than the fact that our main boy Makoto just walks in and sees the body, and that's it. Because the fact he died the same way but with a different hammer to confuse the order. This one is proved that if you love someone, you'll go to extremes, which will also be death. So this one just goes to the bottom of good because it's not beating Mukuro's death, but it's beating Hifumi's fake death. Then this one is where Hifumi finally dies. We were all glad he died, but we all had a sense of gratitude towards him dying. So you'll see here. You could tell by his glasses here that they're now squeaky clean, which means that the first one was fake. So I'm gonna do this now. The first one is death, but Taka's body, which has also been moved from, as you saw in the last one, there was no tarp under Taka. Taka now has a tarp under him, so this one goes in and needs improvement. Because all they needed to do was remove the tarp so it looks like the body had moved on its own. They then put blood back on the glasses to then make it look like they both were just moved by someone else. The next execution is Celestia Ludenberg's execution. And Celestia Ludenberg's execution is controversial to the community because in the community, they didn't want Celestia to die. Neither did they want your hero to die. These two would have been the best characters to keep till the end. But if you did that, it will be controversial to the community because they needed the fan to be sorted. And her death is called Burnt Witch. I like calling it Burnt Witch, but it has a different name to it, which she burns to life. It's burnt to death and crushed. But it's medieval people. Like, I think all the school's money got put into this execution, like the burning and the Viesel's witch. That's what the execution's called. I just like to call it the burning witch because I hate pronouncing that word. Problem is, she could have got away with this murder as well if only she had not mentioned in chapter 1 she was Japanese. Once she mentioned that, it was game over for her. Just saying, this is the slowest death and the slowest execution. Because of the fact that it takes so long for them to realise that she's going to take forever to be burned to death, they decided to just speed up with a fire stroke, which crushes her. The Morrison will then realise that it'll take her to die, so decided to just ram a fire truck in her. So this death goes great. Just it's great because you want this to be the longest death possible because everyone likes Celeste in chapter 3. But the fact is that in each of the chapters, the giveaway is the motive. So the first one was the motive to escape, which led to Sayaka dying instead of Leon, because Sayaka wanted to kill Leon. Leon retaliated and killed her instead. The second one was embarrassing secrets, led to these two deaths. The third one was money, which you could obviously tell that Monokuma specifically is targeting the weak-minded students. So the next one is Sayaka, Sayaka one, which is the ultimate martial artist, Sayaka Ogami. Um, this is a controversial death because she killed herself. Like she killed herself by poison. So this goes in the good automatically because she killed herself with poison. So, but it's not in the great because the fact the execution makes it go lower, as you can see here. Like you can tell here that she's killed herself because the fact there is no literal weapon there. The second part to this is that if someone had actually killed her, the music would have been the same for all of them, but this is different music, indicating that she'd killed herself. That's why it's fixed in the good state. So this is the execution of the martial artist, but the fact is that the martial artist was already dead, so they decided to kill Chihiro Fujisaki AI form. This automatically goes with Chihiro because they're both the same person, but you get to watch the execution anyway. Like the chilling music here makes it automatically like the best music, but then bringing in the guitar extensions of this music kind of gives the nursery melody music on top of that. And then it brings back the eerie music again. The drum makes it in the great category because Saki's one, and I'm revealing it's Pirelli. So the next one is our quote unquote masked assailant, quote unquote. All it is Mukuro Ibusawa's actual body before it got blown up. Because the problem is the mastermind took the fake Junko's body, masked it, and put the cloak on it, and then just left it in the gardens, looking like someone killed her. So this honestly needs improvement. It honestly needs improvement. It's completely not believable because the fact everyone was alive. There is no 16th student around because the 16th was already dead. So you can't tell anything. It needs great improvement. See here, like the camera angle is different because you're coming from above, which proves it's different. So that's why it needs a ton of improvement. If I was being if I was really wanting it generously, I would put it here, like above that. But I'm giving it the benefit of the doubt because the execution of this. So this execution happens to both Makoto and Kyoko, but we're gonna start off with Kyoko's because this is the bad ending. Because they realize once Kyoko's dead, there's no more deaths. Because the fact that no one has clear, like Monokin would give so many murders out straight after Kyoko's death, but no one cares. Because Kyoko is like the glue, what held everyone together. Once she died, everyone just got along, but just couldn't do anything to harm each other. So she was the glue once she died, but kept everyone strong. So this goes in the great and good, like around about here. But I believe it is her one first. I believe. Oh no, it's a Makoto one first. Oh, then I'll just quickly bring that back. So Makoto one didn't deserve his. He technically didn't die because his ultimate luck, so it automatically doesn't make it into the great column. But it doesn't fit the requirements to be in the needs improvement. So this will just go here because the fact that his execution was meant to go as we'll see with Kyoko's one, but his one's the good ending. So you'll see here. You can tell it's fast forward the music here. This is the after school lesson execution, which, in my opinion, does not work, because this is not after school. We're stuck in the school forever, so it doesn't fit the point. You see, he got saved then, and he's falling to his apparent death, which it's not. Okay, so here's there. The next one is apparently Junko's, which I understand why it's Junko's, because her death actually is a secret scene, which you weren't meant to find, but was easily being able to find. So Junko's one is just there, because the fact that it's so confusing to the point where it's just overwhelming with the amount of stuff. Because of the fact that it's got the fire execution, it's got the drill execution, it's got the baseball execution, it's got the Mondo butter execution, it's got the spaceship execution, which no one really saw. It has the and the final one, which is her death one, which is that one. So as you'll see, it's so hectic. You see there's all the executions, the ultimate punish, which is too hectic as it is. where he actually died. It was too hectic. That's why it doesn't breathe. It needs to breathe out for it because it's just too hectic. But then you get the cutscene at the end of which, honestly, that's not really part of the thing. Oh, that's bad. So yeah, so going back to Makoto's execution, we've now got the other half of the execution list, which is Kyoka Kirigiri. And I'm just gonna put this here because it deserves to be there. You'll understand why. It's the same as Makoto's, but this one was the bad ending side of it, so Together would die here. If Kyoko gets here, we're curious if it's people. I thought Makohiri ship were not happy of this execution, nor was the last one. So that's why these two go separate tiers. And that is all of the Trigger Happy Havoc deaths. So out of the Trigger Happy Havoc, I would say this one gets there. But we're doing all of Danganronpa 1s. So we gotta do the Danganronpa 2. You'll understand this one as soon as we play. Go along to here. You just give me a second. Real quick while I pull up the thing. Right, we are back. So going back to the death list. So we're gonna go on to the first robotic death, which will be Monomi, aka Usabi, killed by Monokuma once her role got sapped away. The indication that Hajime just thinks what a poet's life is. But Monomi's bow just proves death is just too much for Danganronpa 2 fans. So, honestly, this needs improvement. Like, honestly, this one just needs improvement to it. To make it into the good category, you don't want Hajime injured. Because that just means that even a protagonist is safe for this one. Because in each game, the protagonist will get injured once, or at least near injured death. And Hajime's there, and you don't want that till later on in the series. Now, the first Danganronpa 2 death, which is Byakuya Togami, aka the Ultimate Imposter's death. Honestly, do I really need to go on about his death? Really? Because what I get from it is he got skewered. And honestly, he deserved to die because if he was alive, no deaths will happen and the game will get boring, as you'll see here now. So the funny thing is, he's the only one who had the goggles. Like, it proves that he was the only one who was able to see, so that needs dreadful improvement. I would put that there, but it's not worthy of them too. So the first V2 Goodbye Despair is the famous Terror execution. And this is the real life burning of a volcano. A volcano execution to deep fry someone. Because it's what we're good. That's all I'm saying, but you gotta watch his death anyway. Well, you can do the quick time. You know, the same as season, we have to bring everyone something. This is a cute right there, Terry is the ultimate execution. He does before the ultimate stab, which is why it's borderline. Borderline. That moves into but this just makes it look like he's bad to the next place. Once he goes the next day, I think it's just good as well, which is flower. Just watching those towards something is where the actual his body's fine. There's a Danganronpa here, the place you could burn. And fried like this. A terror fried chicken. So, the funny part is this all happened on a tape. We actually died off scene. He actually just died off scene. That's why it's borderline good. The next death is tragic because we didn't want this ship to actually be dead soon. So, her death is confusing because she died to the head, but it's linked to a game inside of the game. And I think that is the perfect place. It's good, but not greater than the Mondo Butter execution, but better than the Thousand Blow execution. So, yeah, and you'll see here. The next one, which will be Peko Pekoyama, Steph, which is the Ultimate Swordswoman. This one is gonna go here because it's not better than Kyoko's one, but it's better than Sayaka's death. Because the fact that she harms someone else because of Monokuma, and then Monokuma just stops his execution plan and let the bots just kill. So you'll see here now. Woman up with his control. As you see, cut right through the eye. And she realized her mistake then. And there's all the blood. So that's why it belongs there. The next one is the I believe it's the thingy. No. So this one I believe happens off script. I'm just gonna put you there and that there so it fixes it. So this one is the Ibuki death. Even though she didn't die first, it was Himiko. Not Himiko, the ultimate I don't know her name anymore. Siaji. But Mac well, Ibuki's death was death by hanging, and every time I say it's death by hanging, it goes borderline good. But I'm not putting it borderline good because it means that it's worse than Taro Taro, so it's above Taro Taro, as you'll see here. Mind you, at this point of the time, well, we didn't know it was a two-body chapter, even though chapter 1 indicated that every chapter 3 is a two-body killed chapter. So this is the improvement because you shouldn't really hide the body. You should just shown both the bodies. But the thing is, the killer was actually in hiding at this point. The killer was behind the main body, so that's why it needs improvement. Just a top of improvement. So her death was confusing because her death was actually by suffocation, but then someone slit her throat afterwards to make it look like she died from a slit throat. So that's why it needs the improvement. Now here is Mikan's death. Hang on. Can I add something to this? Can I add something to this? Can you add something to this? Oh, I need to just quickly edit that back. Hey, this is my first tier list ever, so I am going to be breaking a lot of things. This one will be blue, but just with the fact of this one be. I want this executed now because the fact that just that, you'll understand why. You'll understand why when you see this. She has an orgasm on the fish, which makes no fucking sense. Like, why? And then the angles are terrible. I want this execution executed instantly. And then it just that, and even that angle is useless. Like, just delete this execution, please. Right, so okay, right. I'm now gonna skip that one currently. This one happened during the main timeline where he technicality died, but he didn't die. So just needs improvement. You don't want that in. And this is the ultimate team leader's actual death, which is by falling to his death. Um, that just goes there. You'll see why. That means someone did kill him. Which is why he goes there, because the fact that it's good enough to beat Terra, but it's not good enough to beat Ibuki's. Now it's Gundam Tanaka's death, which is the ultimate animal breeder. And the reason why this needs huge improvement, his spells don't work. His spells legitimately did not work. So that's why this one stays in the needs improvement, because the spell was useless. Sure, I would put him there. I would put him there protecting guinea pigs. Or here. But the fact that his spell doesn't work indicates the spell's just it just can't beat Terra's execution. I'm sorry. As you can see, Monokuma is riding into the board. It's still a stampede, it's a stampede, ultimate freedom. It's meant to be and he's happy that he's dying! And he thinks that's teleporting him out of there, it's not work. If he realizes it's not work, and his life is inevitable death. But when he gets carried by the dead animals, he is alive and then just suddenly dies? I think the spell was indicating that once he gets stampeded, he's happy to be stampeded and is trying to his death. So that it goes there. The next one is we want him to die execution. So who we want? So this is the Nakoto, the Nagato, Nagito, yeah, Nagito. He died by suicide because the fact that we can't class it as suicide. We can't class it as a murder. So if this was meant to be an unsolvable murder that even Monokuma couldn't solve, because the fact that the poison bottle could have been thrown by any of our survivalists. But none of the survivalists knew which one was who threw it, so this would have been an execution where everyone would have died, unless Chiaki took the blame, which when Monokuma took it as Chiaki killed. So this just I want that to be a massive improvement to actually give a clue on who threw it, as you'll see here. As you can see, that murder indicates something, but it's indicating that self-sacrifice will never work. Because self-sacrifices always lead to the end. This one, do I need to put an explanation for this one? This just goes with Chiaki's one. Because of the fact that in all worst case scenarios, the protagonist's lover always dies, always goes in. So great, if the protagonist dies, it's borderline great. I'm gonna move that up to borderline great, but just bitch Jin. That's how I see it. Because of the fact that is a protagonist. Protagonists are not meant to die, really. So moving on, we have got, and we'll see Chiaki's death. Chiaki died also this morning. If you try running to the exit, which one leads to a giant bulldozer? be fair, the only part is this is the real Chiaki though. The real one's already dead, so this makes this one more. This makes this one more sad because the fact that we wanted Chiaki to survive. But then the explosion just to make sure he is dead. So the next one is Junko and Ishima VR Junko, aka the alter ego Junko, his execution. We so this execution is deserved because the fact she hacked the system and confused everyone. So this goes into the borderline great. So it goes top good. But this also indicates that hope always wins. The fun part was it brought back Makoto, Kyoko, and Byakuya the original. Then again, they really did physics on this character. They really added the physics to the Jungle character. Yeah, so like I thought. So that death was irrelevant. So I'm gonna put this there. So Junko's death deserves to go there. So now that's all the V2 deaths. Now we're gonna quickly take a side break and go on to the demo of V3. The fact that all of that was fake blood. Oh, just let me. The fact that all that is fake blood and that knife never actually pierced him works, but also doesn't work. So I'm gonna put this as here. So let's move on to the actual deaths of V3. So the actual deaths of V3 starts off with Rentaro, who didn't die to the Kaede, so Rentaro was meant to be the start and the end death, but the fact that Rentaro died early on, which then led to the mistake at the end where Hose Feet did get blown up, which we'll add that at the end. So Rantaro's goes here. Rantaro's does not beat any of them, but it certainly beats Jin Kirigiri's, as we'll see here now. I can get rid of that one. I don't want that to go full screen just yet. So But our next death is Katie, which is our first ever true protagonist death. But really, was it a protagonist death? Because in fact, we changed protagonist in this trial. So this goes in the good, borderline great. So it just sticks at the top of good, as you'll see why. Like you could hear the music in this meant to be chilling, but then it slows down. Then it starts to speed up, but go higher pitch. And you see Curtis now keeps getting choked to death, but she's bouncing up and down. She's just brushing her windpipe. Right, I'm gonna pause this here because there's another death in this death. So that's why Katie's goes there. Goes to Hugh. Where did I put Katie's? I'm goes borderline good to great. Now this is our second bear destruction, which is Monokid. Monokid, I'm sorry, I'm gonna do this to you, but you desperately need the requirement, as you'll see in the second part of this. As you can see, these two deaths link to each other, but Monokid was music. So as Kaede was music, Monokid was music. So it makes perfect sense. But they both died together. But you can see that once everything started to fade, the blood was the last to fade. The scene of that one. So that's why his needs desperate improvement because the blood is Kaede. So the next step is the Ultimate Tennis Pros one. Honestly, I think he will. If he didn't get murdered, he would willingly killed himself for this. So since he technicality didn't kill himself, and I said if he killed himself, it automatically makes it on the good. But he didn't kill himself; he got suffocated first. It's the borderline good, like the very bottom of good. It deserves to be in, as you'll see here now. Fact they thought the fact the fact that they thought this is a racing car game, but the developers here just made no sense. The piranhas are not cars. That's why it's a borderline good. Anyway, the next execution, which is the ultimate maids one, is a sentimental one because we didn't want the ultimate maid to actually be let go here. Then again, they forgot to add the monodam. They forgot to add the monodam one here. So monodam and going to be a dual save. So we'll watch a video first on this one for the dual save. She likes to. She wanted to run away for a while. think it's just cobwebs, huh? And then you see all the swords. And there's none at the top. They just the top. And you should have got the stand at the top, but just paint them. And he starts falling to a death. And then there's one of them who gets pushed underneath it. Because he lost his glasses. And he finds them and he instantly dies. And you can see she's broken all her bones in her body, which stabbed her heart. So this death, out of all fairness, I consider this as actually a very good execution, but it's not top contender. You borderline there. So our next twin deaths, I don't know why they messed this order up. Like they messed this order completely up, and he never died. Oh, sorry, a miniature side rant here. And so the fun part of Angie's death, we all wanted her to die. Do I have to make an explanation for this? We all wanted her to die in the first place. Believing in Atua, Atua wanted her dead. So let's move on from that one, but you will still get to watch her execution. Angie's the ultimate artist who believed in a god. But the fact that she got stabbed from behind and the character did not have the sword in it indicates that she was stabbed with a sword. Next is the Tenko one, and honestly, Tenko did not deserve to die. So Tenko one would just be good for it, but you gotta watch the execution anyway. So Tenko's one is fine. I'm gonna rate Kokichi one anyway because he didn't die, faked it as I would kill him. So the thing with the Tenko one being just in the good section is because of the fact that she weren't meant to die. And the fact that she did die meant that she was not gonna. She had a great character development, to be fair. Great developer. So her death was controversial to the whole community. So the thing about the Kokichi death, as I'm going to move on to the Tenko's, because I just need to grab a quick drink, is that Kokichi's death was a fake death. So I want that to be deleted off that whole game because he just tripped. Anyway, the next death we're going to watch is what I believe is the Kurekio one, which led to Monodam's death as well. So let's just watch it before I rate it. Right, I'm gonna stop this one there just to rate Monodam's one real quick. Monodam just walks into the fire. Do I need to explain why I have to put it in good again? He killed himself. He walked into the fire. But anyway, moving on, we're gonna go back to watching the rest of the Kyokyo one. He's crying blood. His knee is sister. Then Mama Shima would appear and then she's an only return to Japan. I'm praising this saw as both his sister. And his soul evaporates. And that he's never. Can you not interrupt me? I know you like making that hue, so but you just interrupted my monologue. Anyway, the death goes into it a borderline good. Next we have Mew, which everyone wanted it dead. She was too vulgar. She needs character improvement stat, as you'll see here. So the next one, which will be 3 deaths in one, is the famous Gonta death. Because the Fagonda's death is controversial because no one wanted him dead, but he had memory loss. He got memory loss, so they're both, and somehow a Monocup gets pregnant. So the fact that the Monophane got pregnant, that just wants me to put it in improvement. How does the bear get pregnant? And the Tara one will just match it because he was the father. So let's just rank Gond as one. The fact that he's being attacked by robotic bugs. The fact that he's being attacked by robotic bugs, it indicates the fact that he's gonna die by a bug. fact that those who died together at the same moment is just heartfelt. But then again, you can see that the egg was implanted into her, so. The fact that the beetle pierced his stomach and he spat out blood indicated he just died. And then Monokuma burns them both to death, as you're seeing right now. So, Gondor's death inevitably lands in the borderline very good. So he doesn't beat Jin. The next one is the Kokichi real death, and as much as I want to put it here because he was a pain, it actually goes here because he's meant to be an unsolvable crime. Like the body was crushed, unsolvable instantly. You can't see who the body was, as you see here now. So the reason why it goes there, Bison was crushed, but you're meant to believe is Kaito's body, but it's not. It's Kokichi's. So the next execution, which will wanna be one of the last executions before the Mastermind's final one, is Kaito's. Kaito died before his execution was finished, so for that, he gets the great section. And here's why. You can see he's already starting to die there. Antenna's down. I put antennas down early for all of them. But you can see he was already starting to die there. He's rocking because he knows about to die. But at least he's been to space. He's been to space at last, so he dies happily. You see, he's just died. He had a rare illness which was given to him by Monokuma, so he died before the execution was finished. Which led Monokuma not happy. So that's why he gets the great treatment. The next two, which is the final two, is the Samugi Shirimura one, which leads to Hope's Peak being blown up. This needs major improvement because the fact that not that one, because the fact that she gets crushed. Like we've already seen the Mastermind get crushed. If she got suffocated, that would have been great in the Great Canon, but she got crushed, as you'll see here. She just got crushed. Like we've seen it before. She got suffocation by the clothes bend the rock. It'll be fine. And the final one, which is the school execution, that all just goes in great for school execution, as you'll see here now. The school is now in ruins. But then he notices the ground underneath him as it starts to rumble a bit, indicating that he's saving lives here. So he decides to kill himself. That's where it goes into the grave. He's killed himself. But in order to protect others, he killed himself.